What's new in OpenEMM? So this is the version 24.04. The new version will be published in half a year, and so the next version will be 24.10. What we have here, for instance, is a new feature, which is especially important if you send out large amounts of mails. You can now decide if you want to clean up any admins or test users, which means if you plan to send a mailing first, of course you want to test it. Test the links so that you already produce all kind of statistics and data. And I mean, if it's a big send-out, like 100,000 recipients, it doesn't make a difference. But if you send a mail only to 100 or 1,000 recipients, your activities will make a difference in statistics. So if you click this here, your activities will be cleaned, and you're starting with a clean state after send-out. In the recipients area, we already have this feature that you can generate an information report. I will show you briefly. It looks like this here. It's a text file where all the data stored about the person that has just clicked on is saved. This is the requirement of the GDPR, because your clients are the people who get mails, can request that they get all information you have stored about them. So here you can see it with just one click. We had this feature before, but we expanded it because OpenEMM has now more functionality to save more data about recipients. So of course we have to put in more information about these recipients into these reports. Next thing I can demonstrate to you too is we worked a little bit with bounce functionality. Bounce means you send out the mailing but it cannot be delivered. And you can get a bounce back because the address may not exist or whatever the reason is. Maybe because the provider doesn't exist any longer. And so on. In this case, for instance, if you have this client here who has subscribed to 2 newsletters. Let's say you send this newsletter very regularly every week, and the other one maybe only twice a year. So you send this mail here and you get a bounce, then this will change this later to bounce, but this one not. And then say you send out this newsletter half a year later, and then you send it to an address which is already quite a long time dead. The danger is in this case that some mailbox providers use dead addresses to convert them to spam trap addresses. Which means if you now send to this person here, to this email address, you trigger a spam trap, and you might trigger with this spam trap your bad reputation. So now, if a person on one list generates a bounce, we propagate this bounce to all other mailing lists too, just to be on the safe side that a person no longer gets mailing. Another thing which was by popular request is now you can not only import files in a CSV format, but also Excel and ODS, Open Document Spreadsheet. So now you can use Excel, you will not have to convert it to import the data into OpenEMM. This is import. Export, we also have something new. This is just a very small slider here. Export decoded values. But what does it mean? It means normally if you export data in OpenEMM, it uses the internal format for mail types, genders and so on. In mail type 0 is text and 1 is HTML, or for gender. 0 is male, 1 is female, and 2 is others. And if you activate the slider, you would not export in the gender column, for instance, any 1s and 0s, but female and male, the text string. So maybe it's easier for you to hand it on your side, on your export side. Okay. Let's now come to the biggest new feature, which is in the statistics and reports. Reports, you can now create reports in EMM. You can define when they will be sent to you. At what interval and at what time. And the format is PDF. I will show you a few examples in a minute, but it can be also CSV, which is maybe easier to automatically process it on your side. And you have different types of reports. You can compare mails. You can send statistics for specific mails. You can send reports for your recipient universe or for top domains. And as you can see here, you have a lot of checkboxes and filters you can activate so you can really, very grainly find a way to what you want to get. And just to give you an example of how this may look like. This is, for instance, the report for May from us, where we announced OpenEMM 24.04. You can see the basic information and the basic statistics. And then we have here a lot more information like nice pie charts. We have donut charts and bar charts. And of course the tables. And this is of course very nice looking, and we know several clients using this reports and cut out some graphics and put this in a presentation to show the managers how great email marketing works. So this is a report for mailing. I also have a report for recipients. You can see this now shows us how the recipient's universe develops over time watch. The different mailing lists and split openers, clickers, and then over for several more mailing lists. And again, all kind of information. The devices people use to open your emails and to read it and so on. So I think this is a very powerful feature, which puts a lot more power into OpenEMM. And you can use it also to use OpenEMM in a headless way, so that you do not have to log in, because you can use the REST API or the SOAP API we provide to put the data into OpenEMM, and you can use this reports to get data automatically out of OpenEMM in a nice looking format or in a CSV format where you can even access this data or other. So in this case, you do not have to log into the software, but you can just run it. Okay. Another thing in administration, we have a system status page, and here we now also show the disk space left. Maybe you wonder why, but from experience, we know that again and again, users of OpenEMM run out of disk space without noticing it. And then they ask us, why is the behavior strange? I cannot send mails. This is for that. So, we have now the indicator, which turns yellow or red if you are close to the limit. And then you can see it and know, I have to do something. I have to maybe delete some logs or purge the database. Whatever. In our own install and admin guide, we have a lot of information about this, how to remove data no longer needed in OpenEMM. Additionally, there is a change that is not very visible. Previously, if the import process was hanging, the status would eventually turn red, so you could click on it and cancel the import. But now imports are automatically cancelled after they were hanging for an hour. So, you do not have to take care of it, and you can see it, and you can also kill it manually. Okay, I just already mentioned the SOAP and RESTful API. We have changed or expanded the two APIs. You can always see the documentation here. If you click on Help, we have here the manual for the SOAP API, which is a PDF file, 95 pages. Probably this already shows the power of the API. And for RESTful, we use here the Swagger format, so it's the HTML format. And you can research here what the RESTful API is offering to you. If you are still not satisfied with what OpenEMM is offering you, of course it's an open source software. So you can go to github.com and you can have the source code. And if you have the feeling that you have to expand something or change it, just make a fork and create your own version of OpenEMM. It's open source, you can do it, no problem, doesn't cost you a dime. Okay, so what I also want to show you, because I just showed you some of the new features, in the wiki, you can see more about it. We have here a fact sheet. This is the English version, where here you can see that several new features are explained what they do. This is the first one that I just showed you. And we also have the details in the wiki. It's a little bit down. Let's see the table of content here. It's new features over here. For here's a list of all major new features which are in the software. And of course, for older versions, this information is available as well. Also, we have an OVA version. OVA means it's an OpenEMM running in a virtual box, so it's pre-configured. It's just set to download file here. But beware, before you download it, it's almost 5 gigabytes, so it's quite a big thing. But you can also use this version, of course, of OpenEMM. But the normal way would be to go to our website, download the OpenEMM runtime. This also includes the install software. You have to register to get it, and you will get our OpenEMM newsletter, but of course you can cancel it. You can unsubscribe it immediately. This gives us a chance to be able to contact you via your email, and then you can get the link to the runtime version. Just 2 other things I would show you. If you need help, you can also have a look at our YouTube channel. We have lots of videos, and not only in German language, but we have how-to and tutorial videos also available in English language. And if this does not help, we have, of course, the support form where you can ask questions, and other users might jump in and help you, or we, of course, can perform as well and give answers. So these are the sources where you can get more information.